lot of players forget that the Widowmine does additional damage to shields. So that makes them very effective if used correctly. Now, the Motion Core is going to find a nice angle to get in here, spots the factory, sees one upgrade, and also will spot the Widowmine spawning. My God, that could not have been a better time Mothership Core. And it sees everything. So this gives him a very valuable 10 to 15 seconds to prepare. Decides to throw down the Robo in reaction to this. So he has detection for that. But that Mothership Core, it was like the hacks. It saw everything it needed to.
Alright, so this poke could do damage. There's no question. The Widowmine could be very, very useful. If it took out a Stalker and then left the 2 Marines and 2 Marauders to deal with the 2 other Stalkers that would be there, that would be great. This is going to be able to walk mostly past it and then deploy, and this is going to connect. So down goes the Stalker.
Huge.
That was actually a really nice little play here. Now he's going to just be a little bit aggressive here. He's going to force this Mothership Core back. He's actually going to bunker up. When was the last time we saw this against Protoss, man?
Yeah, he attempted something similar with the 2 racks, but this time it's a barracks and a factory. You can see Minigun's trying to rely on his Photon Overcharge. That's his game plan right now. If he allows the next defense, will lose another Stalker there. I think Photon Overcharge will be enough. And yeah, he delayed the bunker right there. Widowmine might activate and do Splash. It does to kill off that Marauder right there. There's the Photon Overcharge. He's just going to go straight for the main. The Observer's on the way. There's just enough energy for a Chrono Boost if he needs it. He might lose his Mothership Core if he's not careful, though.
Down
and he does.
Mothership Core goes down, but Maker doesn't really have a lot else behind this. Like, he cancels the bunker. It doesn't really matter, though, because that was not all in by any stretch of the imagination. He was macroing behind this. He has his base up and is now starting to mine from it, which is something that Minigun's not been able to do. He still also has to deal with this one Widowmine that's sitting there. And I think Minigun spotted it. Yeah, there we go. He's got the Observer in play now, so he's going to be able to take the Widowmine out, which is quite nice. It's really hard to say what that did, because it was so equal. And resources lost is ridiculously equal. I think Maker got the better end of that, because he was able to slow down mining at that natural, and delayed it for so long, whereas he was able to get mules down on his natural and establish his defense here. But it does make him a bit vulnerable to a counterattack, because as we see, he's got barely any units on the map now. He's not able to build a lot of Marines. He's got to kind of rely on a lot of Marauders here, because he actually has 2 barracks down with tech labs and not with reactors.
I gotta say, I love the idea here from Minigun to go for Immortals. He's already got 1 Immortal out, is chronoing out a second one. This is a big investment in Immortals. You don't normally see Protoss use Immortals a lot. I mean, they're good at trying to defend, maybe at some timing attacks, but versus Terran, the reason they're so tough is because they are worthless versus Marines. It's like a joke. But they also hard counter Marauders into the ground. So it basically comes down to where you're trying to individually click on the Marauders there with those. It can be very tough to pull off. We'll see if he manages to do it here, because he's actually gearing up himself for a counterattack.
Yep, he
and
is.
Maker is supply blocked in a huge way, just now starting that depot. Again, this is the
really
worst time for supply block, and the force fields might actually just end it for him right here. That supply block, oh god, that's so painful, because he
only
needs
one bunker.
every single unit.
There's only 1 bunker down. It's an Immortal Sentry attack on 2 bases. This is really dangerous. It's going to hit slightly before Stim finishes. This is the perfect timing for Minigun. He immediately takes down that bunker, and this army's just getting absolutely crushed. Minigun smashes his way through the natural. As soon as those force fields go down, Maker's got to sack the natural here. Surely, there's no way out of that.
Yeah, he should be able to save the command center itself. He would have loved to have Widow Mines or Siege Tanks on the high ground, but that supply block, I mean, it lifted itself
that might have killed
at
him, man.
the first time, and I do think that the supply block ended up costing him this game. He would have had more units here. He wasn't out on the map scouting this attack. You could tell he was surprised when it got there. There was no SCVs there ready to repair.
No.
And this just shows you have to do everything right. You have to get the scouting. You can't be supply blocked. These are the basic mechanics that you cannot forget against Minigun, because he is going to punish you just like we're seeing right now.
Even if Maker holds this, he's lost so many workers already. I don't even see him holding it. He's waiting for as many Marines as possible, and he's dropping mules every time he can. He's got medevacs out now, which is nice, but all of these Zealots are just going to tear their way through this SCV count, and he's trying to push this back. There's more force fields going down. These 2 Immortals are still alive. I think Maker's going to have to give this up. He's down to 29 supply versus 75. He tried a bit of aggression, and then Minigun just came back and slapped him down. Maker was completely unprepared for that counterattack, and he's going out of this tournament. There's no question at this stage. There's no recovering from that.
Yeah, 22 supply to 75. He's not on his even 2 bases right now. Yes, he's got the orbital in his main base. He did manage to save it, but a handful of Marines is not enough. Honestly, at this point, Minigun can just contain him. He can expand. He can go for tech. He can really go for anything he wants and just bust up that ramp at any time. So the Observer right there sees, all right, we got to go ahead and back out here a little bit, but when it's 80 supply to 26,
yeah,
I mean, there's just no way to recover from it. I don't think any amount of drops. Oh, God. I don't even want to see that right now.
Yeah, you can see the income. Maker's income, even with the mules, is not even close. We've got Minigun doubling his income here, even with the mules on the field. The Colossus is on the way out. Yeah, I mean, Maker's hanging on. I understand why he is, because, of course, this is his only shot, and he's actually going for this full-on Doom drop here with his entire army, because that's all he's got left. It may very well get lucky. I think it is going to get lucky. It's actually going to get in between here. It's not going to be seen. So this is the best situation you could hope for, but even then, what's he going to do with it? What is he planning on doing with that exactly? Oh, the Stalkers are going to get caught out of position. That, again, that's really, really nice, but let's not overestimate the chances of Maker here, really. I mean, this is all he has. This is his last-ditch attempt to stay in this game right now, and it's not going to work. There's no question. Minigun should be able to hold this with his Colossus. He's warping in more units. There's nothing left here for Maker. Surely, as he loses this, this is when he gives up. Or not. Well, it's 6 SCVs to 50, man. It's 21 supply to 89. There's a Colossus on the field. You don't get out of this. There's no getting out of this.
Yeah, I mean, what he would have had to have done is leave the base before the army could have retreated home and somehow killed every single worker. You can see Minigun right now. He's even throwing down cannons in his mineral line. That is how far ahead he is, even though he's only on 2 base. He realizes
drops is a possibility. That's the only thing that Maker can do, right?
Yeah, it's the only way Maker can actually win. Not that that's even a possibility right now.
Happening.
The Observer sees that the medevacs have not left the base. Colossus is on the way. Taking a look at the upgrades, Thermal Lance is done, so I'm pretty sure this Colossus could just solo Maker right now. And I think that's about what we're going to see here. This army's backed into a corner. There's the remainder of the SCVs, but
yeah,
that's going to be it.
Then there went the remainder of the SCVs. GG, there it is, and Minigun advances. Maker, unfortunately, is out of the tournament. So we see. Now we know part of our round of 8, man. We do. We've got Root Puck and Root Minigun, 2 Protoss players advancing through to the round of 8 here in week 1.
Gotta say, Root couldn't really be more happy about that. I mean, there's no way for them to have more players advance. So even though they kind of had a team kill situation where there was 3 of them in a group where only 2 can advance, at least for their sake, 2 of them did advance. I think Maker got to show off his skills a little bit there. I do think that his nerves got to him not only in the first round, but here in the last game. So unfortunately for him, not able to advance. But I just want to say, TB, thanks for inviting me. It's been a ton of fun. This is only day number 1, as there are many, many more rounds to be had for this tournament. Lots of money on the line as well. So what are your thoughts about today?
Well, from a production standpoint, we need to fix things. This is pretty clear, but we saw some good games, man. It was interesting to see Maker come back and play a much better series, but then, of course, that little... He relies a little bit too much on these gimmicky little openings and gimmicky little plays that can work, but, you know, I liked what he did with the Widowmine. I think it was good, but the problem is that what are you then going to do against the Immortals that are going to come down on you? And he didn't have an answer to that. He didn't do as much damage as I think he hoped that he could, and then he ended up in an awkward spot. But we still saw some great games today, some really evenly matched stuff as well. So this is really cool. And we've got Puck and Minigun going through, so that's 2 Protoss players. Of course, next week's group, we will not see Root in Group B. We will see Root in Group C. There are 2 remaining Root players. We've got Massa and... I actually can't remember who the other one is. Sorry, I'll find that out in a second. I know Massa's definitely in there, so that's going to be interesting. But Group B is going to be quite the intriguing mix, because what we have in Group B is Gosu User, Hendralisk, Drunken Boy, and Neeb. So you've got 2 really good Zerg players against 2 lesser-known Terrans. 2 FXO Terrans, in fact, ended up in the same group there. So that's going to be an interesting group. I think, like, obviously the favorite going into that is probably Gosu User, but I'm interested to see if Drunken Boy and Neeb can really put up a fight and actually take some series there. It
is going to be awesome indeed. So thank you, everyone who watched. I think it was over 32,000, something like that
I
at
think
one
we
point.
almost hit 40K across all streams at one point. So
Oh, that
considering the
is
amount of
sick.
problems we had, that's really, really good. So thank you very much for your support, guys. The second group will be played on May the 11th. May the 11th at the same time on this channel. So that's a Saturday. We'll then have Group C the day after that, May the 12th. Group C is, yes, it was Kane. I keep forgetting about him because he's a recent addition. Kane, Masa, Suppy, and Hello Kitty, which is a really, really big group. Like, that to me is the group of death, in my opinion. That's a really strong group. So I'm interested to see what goes on then. Of course, Group D will be on May the 17th. That's State, QXC, Xenocide, and RSVP, which a lot of people are calling QXC as an easy 2-0 out of that group. But, I don't know, there's a lot to prove there. There's also a lot of preparation time for these guys as well.
Yeah, I would love to see. I think that's actually the group I'm most excited about, just because there's a lot of big personalities in there. QXC, I know, has wanted to prove himself for a very long time. He's a very emotional player. RSVP actually took a big break from StarCraft. He quit towards the end of Wings of Liberty and was not heard from for a very long time. And then he came back and managed to qualify for this tournament by being top 16 on ladder. So obviously he has still got it, and he is the one who won the amateur division a long time ago of the GSPA that I ran. I think that had like 3,000 people play, something like that. So for him to come out on that is no small feat. So if he practices as much for this tournament as he did for that one, I think that would be a good encouragement for him not to stop playing StarCraft again.
Yeah, he's been streaming a lot lately as well, so I'm interested to see what comes of RSVP. But yes, next week we do have that really great group, Ghost User, Hendralisk, Drunken Boy, and Neeb. Drunken Boy, of course, did pretty well in the Premier League qualifiers for WCS, knocking out Mia before losing to Hart. Neeb to me is very much an unknown quantity, so we'll see what happens with him. Hendralisk recently picked up by Complexity, and of course Ghost User on Millennium, who is, in my opinion, the favorite to win that group. But there we go, folks. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for watching. And we will see you on the next episode of SHOUTcraft America, which will be on May the 11th at 1400 EDT. Please do go check out shoutcraft.com to donate, tip to these players if you so desire, and check out all the information you could so desire about this tournament. Thank you very much, folks. We will see you next time. Good night.